Good day. My name is Jael Gonzaez. I am a junior student of computer engineering at the University of Puerto Rico at Mayagüez, and I have a huge passion for technology, networking, and most importantly, cybersecurity, which is what brings me to today. Today, I will be presenting my research poster, JavaScript deployment on the internet and the security from a skill perspective. First, I would like to talk about the introduction and background so I can explain the importance and reasoning for the research I have carried out. Now, why is the research important? Well, in our present, when a developer builds a website, they tend to include third-party JavaScript libraries. And what are third-party JavaScript libraries? Well, they are pieces of code, also known as scripts, that allow a developer to add numerous functionalities to their website without having to code it. Instead, they simply import it from a server that belongs to a third-party provider. Famous providers include Google, jQuery, Bing, and many others. However, although very efficient, third-party scripts create a possible security risk, since the developer importing the library cannot control the security of the third-party server, meaning that the website security will now also depend on the security of the imported library. A vast amount of attacks use this exploit, such as cross-site scripting, cross-site request forgery, and cross-site script inclusion. Being able to understand all of the attacks that come from the frequent use of third-party JavaScript deployment is essential in order to improve the security as well as preventing the creation of vulnerabilities that could be later exploited. There are many ways to analyze the security of third-party JavaScript deployment. The scale factor is incredibly important because it allows to visualize and predict all the damage that a compromised third-party JavaScript can cause. The established hypothesis was as follows. Most of the popular pages will use a substantial amount of third-party JavaScript files, meaning that if one of these were to be compromised, finding out exactly which one it was will prove to be hard. Moreover, some specific files will be repeated throughout many websites, putting a substantial amount of sites in danger simultaneously. Now for the method. In order to gather the top 1000 sites, I use Alexa Top Sites, an API that allows to obtain a list of the most used websites according to the Alexa traffic rank algorithm. However, the API only responded with 994. Concurrently, I developed a web crawler in Python that was able to obtain the JavaScript files used in each site. The crawler used Selenium WebDriver, which will access a site and extract its content. Then, the program will analyze the content and search for a script with a CRC or source attribute and categorize them as third-party JavaScripts. After, the program will make a request for the headers and metrics of the JavaScript and store them in various files. An important note is that a timeout was implemented to keep the crawler from staying stuck in a request for a page that cannot be accessed or is too slow to give a response. This made the crawler have an 89% success rate. The results demonstrate that dividing the websites in group of 50 gives an average from 14 to 22 files per group. However, the amount of files per website greatly vary. Data also revealed that most scripts only appear once per site. These are most likely scripts developed by the same site. However, the most repeated scripts are few. Consequently, very few scripts are popularly used as third-party JavaScript, but those that are popular are used immensely through the web. The use of a script has an exponential relation with its popularity. For example, the most repeated script is Google Analytics, and it appears in 449 out of 994 websites, which is an astonishing 45.17% of the website scroll. In conclusion, some third-party JavaScript files are repeated in a great amount of sites. This creates an attack vector that if it were to be exploited, millions of websites could be compromised, along with all the users that use said website. Instead of existing many files that could damage a few selected websites, there are a few files that if compromised will damage the majority of all web pages. To prevent websites from being attacked and vulnerabilities from being exploited, Developers must be careful with the third-party JavaScript files they implement and make sure they are updated constantly, as well as not using unnecessary third-party JavaScript because it creates a site security more dependable on third-party servers. This culminates my research. Thank you for your time.